Hello, my dear students of class 7. Welcome back to another new session. I hope you all are very good and fine and excited about your new chapters, new books, new things every new things. So, today we are going to discuss chapter 1 of your English literature book, Three Questions. It has been written by Leo Tolstoy. So you will see this chapter has got three characters. One is the king, the other is the hermit, and the other is a bearded man. So there these three characters, okay, these three characters makes up this chapter, and I cannot complete the whole thing in the very first class, but I can tell you the gist of it. The three questions is about the king who thinks that if he knows the right time to begin something, the most important person to listen to, and the most important job to be done, if these three answers are got by the king, then the king would do no mistake in his life. So, one day he thought of these three questions and he asked his courtiers, some learned men, to answer him correctly. If he gets the satisfied answers from everyone, he would never do any mistake in his life. As he's a king, he need to rule his subjects. So he wanted to know the right time to begin something, that is his decision, to the right time to begin his decision, the most important person to uh, narrate the decision, and what must be the decision or the most important job to be done, or what is that decision, so what is that thing that will be right to give it to those subjects. So, firstly, you will see understanding our desire for clarity and prosperity. So, here the awareness has been given with understanding our desire. Means what you are wanting, your wants must be understandable and it should be clear, which will take you forward in your life. So, where I am reading the chapter, you just follow some of the lines what the three questions states to us. So do you ever wonder about the future or think what might have been the biggest way to have done something? So we always need a planning to start something. So we always do that. So read this story about a king who wants to know who the most important people for him are and the right time for doing the most important thing. So here the king wants to know these particular things before he starts doing something or before he starts to narrate it to someone. So let us begin with the story. So it once occurred to a king that if he always knew the right time for every action, the right people to listen to, and who to avoid, and above all, what the most important thing to do was, he would never fail in anything. So once the king thought that he always knew the right time for every action. So for every action, if he always knew what is the right time to begin it, then he would always begin at the right time. So it would not fail. Then comes the right people to listen to and whom to avoid. So if you do that right thing for that right person, then that people will get the interest in that decision or in that action. So that action will not fail because it is being transferred to that right people. Then what the most important thing to do was, so what is the correct action to do? So what There will be several, in a day we do several kinds of work, right? But the right action or the right work to begin at the very right time to that right people is what the king wanted. Okay, why he wanted this? The last line is important, because he would never fail in anything. He would never fail doing these three things. He would never fail. Means the right time to begin, the most important person to listen to, and the most important job to be done. So if he knew these three answers, then he would never fail in his life. Come to the next page. He had it proclaimed throughout his kingdom. Proclaimed means announced. He already stated throughout his kingdom that that he would give a reward to anyone who would teach him these truths. So whoever tells the correct answer to him, the king would give him gift, reward. Many learned men, mark this word learned. We are calling it as learned now, but when it comes to verb, we say it learned. Okay, the same word when it comes to verb, now it is adjective. In these lines, learned, when we tell it as common, pronounce it as learned, then it is adjective. When we pronounce it as learned, then it is verb. So many learned men came to the king. In reply to the first question, some said that one must draw up a table of days, months, years, and live strictly according to it. So the first learned men came for the reply of those three questions. They said that if someone begins by drawing up a table, means by making a schedule, in one word, by making a schedule, if one follows a schedule of months, years, and lives strictly to it, then he would not fail, according to learned men. Others declared that it was impossible to decide beforehand the right time for every action. But others said, to criticize those learned men, some said that it was not possible to decide beforehand when you want to begin something. Like today, I cannot tell when I am going to eat tomorrow. The exact time I cannot say it. It can happen like I will be eating 1 hour later or 1 hour before. The right time cannot be said. One should be attentive to all that was going on and do what was the most needed. So we must be attentive. So they are saying that you must be attentive to do certain kind of thing. Okay. Some said that the king should have a council of wise men to help him decide the proper time for everything. And some others said that they should have council of wise men, means a group of wise men, knowledgeable persons, who would give the decision of proper time for everything to the king. Means they would say, king, do this now, it is your right time to do this now. Then after half an hour or after 1 hour, another man will say, king, do this now, this is your right time to begin with this now. So there must be some persons to assist the king. Yet others said that there were things one had to decide at once. Some said that, yet others said there were things one had to decide at once, means you have to take your decision suddenly, for which one must know beforehand what was going to happen. Since only magicians knew that, one must consult magicians. So some said that you must consult magicians. King, you can call up magicians to guide you. How? Because they know from beforehand what was going to happen to you. Only the magicians can do like that. So the king was given the advice of consulting the magicians, so that the magicians can help the king from beforehand. So, equally varied were the answers to the second question. To the second question, what was the second question? The second question was the most important person to listen to. So, regarding that question, some said that the people the king most needed were his counselors. So, who are the most important person to the king? Some said they are the counselors. Who are counselors? Counselors are the advisors or the ministers of the king. Others said it was the priests, the pujari priests. Some said the priests. They are the priests. Your important king, your important persons are the priests. Yet others, the doctors, while some said the warriors were the most necessary. So different people have got different answers. Some are saying they are the counselors who are important to you. Some are saying there are priests who are important to you. Some are saying no. For your health checkup, the doctors are God to you. They are the most important person. You must always have the doctor beside you. But some said, no, king, as you are king, you have to annex some of the other states. So for that you need a cavalry, you need warriors. So warriors are the most important persons to you. So to the third question, now comes the third question. What was the third question? Let us re-evaluate what was the third question. The third question was the most important job to be done. So what was the most important work to do at the very right time? So, to the third question, some replied that the most important occupation was science. Others said it was skill in warfare. So, what job is important to the king? Some are saying it is the science which will put forward the king, which it will make a renowned name for the king in front of these subjects. So it is the science. But no, some are telling it is the war, the skills that the king must learn for the war. And others again said it was the worship. So some are saying no, king must go to the temple and pray in front of God. So God will help the king. So worship, prayer, it is the most important thing to the king. So now what the king? So we have got varied men's answers, varied men, learned men, wise men, counselors. Everybody answered it. But what? The king now thinks what? So the king was dissatisfied with all the answers. The king was not happy. He was not happy. Means all these answers, it seemed that these answers were not up to the mark to the king. He decided to consult a hermit. And who is a hermit? A hermit is a person who lives alone, away from people and society. Okay. So hermit are people who stays in forests. Okay. They are the gurus, you can say. So renowned for his wisdom. Why did the king try to consult with the hermit? Because the king tried to consult a hermit because he was renowned for his wisdom, knowledge. He thought that the hermit would be giving him all the three answers very correctly. So the hermit, where did the hermit live? The hermit lived in a wood and he received none but common folk. So no noble persons, no royal persons can attain him. He only looked out to the very ordinary common men, like mm, like not the royal one, kings, queens. He would not meet them, not the soldiers. No, he only meets the common people. So the king put on simple clothes. So the king was now in disguise of a common folk. So the king put on simple clothes and leaving his horse and bodyguards behind, went alone to meet whom? To meet the hermit. So, what is up the next? We will discuss in our next class. I hope till here I have maintained the suspense with you, and I guess you all are wanting to know what will happen next to the three questions to the king, whether he will be getting his answers or not. So that is something interesting, and we will also learn some moral values when we end this chapter. So I hope this far is much for the day, and go through the lines. There are some meanings in page number 12. You can learn those meanings at home. This will help you out. Okay, and of course, if you want to read this chapter more, if you want to read and know it, you can obviously do it. So I will continue from the next lines in the very next class. Thank you all. Bye bye. Have a good day.